Welcome back. Even Republicans admit that the grand old party is at a crossroads. The demographics of America are changing, arguably putting Republicans at a greater disadvantage with each successive election cycle. But at the same time, many House Republicans feel as though they're entering the session with a mandate of sorts. 85% of House Republicans that'll be in the next Congress, they won re-election with 55% at least of the vote here. That's a big margin when it's all said and done. And most, if not all of them, won on holding the line against any tax increases. So, with mixed messages coming their way, will the GOP bend or will they remain firm? And Anthony, I'll start with you on this one. Obviously, we're doing the back and forth in the fiscal cliff, and there's a meeting of the minds with some of the Republican leaders as to where to go. But if I'm some guy in Texas right now who won a pretty red district, I could say, hey, public sent me to Washington here. I'm supposed to hold the line on taxes. I'm not raising a penny. Nationally, though, the party's got to convince these same guys, I know you said that, I know you promised that, but for the betterment of the party here, we got to kind of meet the president a little bit more in the middle. This is a challenge, I would think, not just for the next few weeks or few months, but long-term for the party, especially if you're trying to broaden your base.
Yeah, the Republicans they're licking their wounds right now, trying to figure out what went wrong. And I think, candidly, the answer is the party was not inclusive. It was really becoming very exclusive, and it didn't resonate with the majority of Americans. You know, I believe in a lot of conservative values, but I don't believe in the platform that the Republican Party had in not bringing people in. You listen to people like Jeb Bush and Senator Marco Rubio. You know, they're talking about immigration reform. Yep. These are things that President Bush II did talk about pre-9/11, and then after that it became very much Homeland Security, and it just sort of dissipated and everything was about strong defense. But they need to come back and bring more people in. If they don't, they're just going to be a party on the outs, irrespective of, you know, whether they're right or wrong on a particular issue.
And right now, I mean, this is the Washington Times saying it, so it's obviously a pretty conservative publication, but the uneasiness for some of the more conservatives in Congress right now with where Boehner is going, where he basically said day after the election, he did win. If he didn't use the word mandate, he said, yeah, taxes got to be on the table here. We get it. There's some talk that, you know, there could be a little coup against the House Speaker. It's a difficult position. I think he's a stronger position than he was a year ago, but on the same end, it's tough to tell people who got an overwhelming majority of the vote in their district saying one thing, that never mind, we got to go in another way, especially since they see they're in the majority. It's a tough dance, isn't it?
Listen, if you're the speaker, you're the one handing out committeeships and subcommitteeships, okay? Do you want that subcommitteeship on defense? Do you like that? Is that fun for you? Okay, well, I need you to take a hit for me and the party. And that's, obviously, you know, he has issues with Eric Cantor and his Tea Party group, and he's obviously waiting in the wings, but that's, you know, that's a political dance that Boehner's going to have to handle.
And also, he doesn't need all of them, and that's a mistake some people make. He just needs enough to get it passed and given enough guys cover that need the cover and those that don't.
They give him passes. I mean, that's politics.
All right. Next up, we head to the great state of New Jersey, where the race for governor got a little bit more interesting. State Senator Barbara Buono says she's seeking the Democratic nomination for governor, accusing Republican Governor Chris Christie of what she says, quote, trickle-down economics that she says have stagnated economic growth in Jersey and left the state with the highest jobless rate in 3 decades. Now, she has served in the legislature since '94, and it earlier said that she was not waiting to hear what Booker had to say before declaring her intentions. Now, Dominic, for his part, Cory Booker, he's been somewhat elusive, at least for now.
Are you thinking about running against Chris Christie for governor?
Yeah, I am absolutely considering running for governor, as well as giving other options some consideration. I'm going to be focused on that for the next week to 10 days or so.
If you decide not to run for governor, is there any chance you might run for another office, say Senate, for example?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that a lot as well, and trying to get back, because life ultimately is not about a position, it's about a purpose. And my purpose that I try to focus on every single day is how can I make a difference in the world around me and in the community around me. So I'm really thinking about both offices right now and which one can I better serve on the issues I'm passionate about.
That's very nice dancing, by the way. I can see the nodding from both sides here as how he ends it. But Dominic, you've been around enough for these guys. Here's what my translation is. Tell me if you have a different read. Buono got in, maybe because she said she's not waiting, but also Booker don't want to be governor. Booker wants to be U.S. Senator. He wanted it before. He tried to do an end round around Frank Lautenberg. Didn't go over well with too many people, and Frank Lautenberg went back in the Senate, as we all know. That all said, what do you think Booker does?
Well, here's a prediction. Based on that Face the Nation appearance with Bob Schieffer, it's clear that Cory Booker is not, I emphasize, is not running for governor. Based on what we just saw, based on what we just witnessed, it sounds like from his own mouth, he's much more interested in the U.S. Senate, a body where he would sit in much better. He is not, Cory Booker is not going to beat Chris Christie for governor.
So you think it's as much, he likes the
attention?
But listen, a lot of attention comes with Governor of Jersey, right? We've seen Chris Christie certainly with the national profile he's done. Is it because he's worried about beating Christie more so than he likes the idea? Because I always thought some people are built for the Senate, some people are built to be a mayor or to be a governor, right? For example, Michael Bloomberg. He wouldn't play well being one of 100, okay? No. He needs to be the alpha guy, more specifically in Gotham than in Albany, but definitely not one of 100 in Washington. Cory Booker, I mean, I know him a little bit. I'm not presuming to say we're like this. I believe he's a genuine article. I know a lot of people are always suspicious of it. I believe he's literally just a general article. It doesn't play as well in Trenton or certainly in Newark, as he found, than I think it does in Washington. Do you buy that?
I absolutely buy that. I think he'd be a phenomenal U.S. Senator. And I totally agree with Dominic that it is going to be very difficult to defeat Christie, who has become Obama's chief surrogate in the last couple of weeks.
And also, the guys that have, some of the Democrats from Ms. Oliver to Sweeney, who might also run, Christie's been brilliant, just trust me in the inside politics, about working with them on certain projects so that if they rail against him, he'll be like, oh, really? You said the following about me here. How is it that you hate me now, right? So whatever you say, in a very blue state, Chris Christie has politically, even if you don't agree with everything he said, been a brilliant maneuverer. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, right to work, the issue passed in Michigan once the governor signs the bill. They will become the 24th right-to-work state in the country, certainly momentum gaining in this end, and of all places, Michigan, right? Will this be good or bad for their state? And overall, what does it say about the American workforce? Stay with us.